Hi, this is George Nordhaus, and welcome to Monday Morning. And I've said we have unusual things occasionally. Well, this is the most unusual ever for a lot of basic reasons. We're going to have a 2020 look at, and you see our guy looking out the window there, at the year 2021, the insurance world according to GARP. And I've got three guests: Bruce Cochrane of Renaissance, Al Diamond of Agency Consulting Group, and Chris Paradiso of Paradiso Insurance. And these gentlemen have been picked for a lot of great reasons, not the least of which is they know what's going on in the world, but also because, see, it's GARP, it's George, and that's right, and then Al, he's for the A, Bruce is Renaissance Group, so that's the R, and P is for Chris Paradiso. See, so I worked it out. What in the world are we talking about? Well, incidentally, let me see at the outset that Chris is in Connecticut, and they're having a huge storm. It's coming up towards Boston where Bruce is. It's not coming down towards where Al is, down in Cherry Hill as far as I know. But anyhow, Chris, can you hear me? Where are you? What are you doing?
Well, I can hear you loud and clear. Just waiting out this bad rainstorm and heavy winds.
But you're in your car.
I am.
Why?
I am.
Why?
We have had power line issues, so phone issues, and also internet issues due to high winds and torrential downpours.
I heard you said it was going to be 3 inches today. I told you we only had 1.61 for the year. I saw it this morning. Holy mackerel, this is going to be a biggie. Well, and I've never done a Monday morning with anybody in the car before, but who cares? It's going to work, and we'll do it, and we'll make it work. Okay, what we're going to do is going to talk about the world according to GARP. Now, if you've never heard of the world according to GARP, I can understand. The book came out in 1979, I think, and it was written by a guy named John Irving, and he was quite an author, and he had some really good stuff. And the book came out, and then the movie came out in 1982. The movie starred Robin Williams, and he was, you know how good he is. There's no question about that. But the story was Robin was the bastard son of Jenny Fields. She had this guy. She was a feminist and so forth, and she was pretty amazing. And the story is about how they worked their way up, sexual extremes, sexual assassinations. It was really something. Rich with lunacy and sorrow, they said. Dark events of the year and how he came forward, he being the son. And, well, the last line kind of tells it. But people really understood it back then. It's been in 30 languages across the world, 10 million copies in print. And in the end, the famous last line is, in the world according to GARP, we are all terminal cases. Well, that's a question. I don't think we're going to all be terminal cases in the insurance business, as a matter of fact. So what I did, I went to each of these gentlemen and I asked them to write out the 4, 5, 6 things that they think they see coming. And we'll do it in GARP fashion. So GARP fashion gets me into number 1 and to be the first. Here's what I see coming along in 5 years from now. And, you know, it doesn't take any great brains. I think you guys are all going to agree with me. Automation is just going to be amazing. Analytics everywhere. I learned a lot of that from Bruce before on that one. Underwriting like IBM's Watson. I really feel strongly that the underwriting is not going to be at the whim of or the creation of the agent or the CSR, the producer. There's so many variables, but the Watsons of the world can handle them, and I see that happening, and I think the rest of the guys do too. Access to every market everywhere, and there's no question about that. Right now you don't really have access to the markets. Of course, that's what Renaissance is all about, to give access to the markets of their people, or any aggregator. But as a matter of fact, we'll have access to every market everywhere, generally speaking. They might not want you, but you can certainly find them, that's for sure. I learned this from Al, understanding our agency numbers. Al's been teaching me for that for only maybe 35 years or so, about the fact that we don't know our agency numbers, and we found that out the hard way. Al goes out to see them, and I mean, he works with them, and he tries, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And well, I'll let him maybe tell you. And then I see a tremendous lot of gradation. And gradation, as you know, is grading your customers, your clients, your prospects, and just kind of a couple other here. I have a program called IONA Insurance Needs Analysis. It's not out with Deborah Miller-Failer. It's quite a program, but I don't want to talk about that now other than to show you some of the slides from our presentation. These are the ideas, the things that we'll know about. We will know about. Now, we can know about those now. We can find them, but my argument is that we don't now, most of us. And so you can see, look at all the how many lost clients have we captured and all that. All of that really is going to be electronic, no question about it. Gradation, of course, is to grade your clients as you could, all the way down from the ones you ought to get rid of to the ones that have the high potential growth, and you treat each of these different with your marketing programs. So I see that happening. The second thing I see happening is an emphasis on niche selling. I just think that we're going to go so much closer and tighter in niches. And so we've got the analytics, and you guys are going to talk about that, I know. But I just think in depth we're going to know these things. If you're I learned a lot of these. Mike Carroll is a speaker. He did one a couple of weeks ago, and he is on lawyers. And what he does for lawyers, you can't believe. DeVargas Agency over in Boston area, Bruce knows them. They are so in depth with the real estate people, and so it goes. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that. The Rough Notes Insurance Marketplace is the guide to us. We use that constantly, and I believe now Rough Notes at this stage of the game has 700 plus coverages in there, and who writes it and all that sort of thing. And it's nice, and they update it all the time. I believe that 5 years from now, that thing is greater than 700. It could have 7,000. George, don't go overboard now. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll be able to identify prospects a lot better than we can. And of course, and we're going to hear more from you, but the constant organized contact. And this is what I really believe is going to happen right here. I believe, and these are just what we call, well, these are the information tools that the agency has and will be having, but essentially what it shows, I mean, these are the forms that eventually, when we have everybody in the agency, every time you talk to somebody, you'll go on in and you'll make an entry, and so you'll be able to see the information on the family and the interests and the lifestyles and the expectations. What do they really want from us? Data transferred from your review. It's just going to be wild, the amount of information over there. Over time, you'll learn their family interests. I know you say, well, you care about that? Because that's the way the ball bounces. I think we're going to hear more about relationships in a minute. The education interest, sure. We're going to know all those things. I mean, there's no question about the fact. Over time, we're going to learn career interest, and so it goes. And we're going to have all that information on there. So every single time that a customer, I think, I see this coming, that a CSR or anybody in the agency talks to anybody, they're going to have to bring that up, bring this information up on the person, and fill it in and keep filling it in and be able to talk to them about their needs. Okay, the hiring process is going to be different. You see how it's going to affect recruiters. They're looking for talent at the college level. The shift in everyday insurance jobs is going to require a lot more training. I think you're going to see that. You're going to see students who are going to graduate with concentration in insurance and risk management. They're going to be a very attractive commodity. You can see a lot more of that. I know we get it now, some of us, but and then you're going to see analytical skills and background in statistics. I think that's going to be vital. And I like this thought right here that human employees will be more involved, and process automation isn't designed to eliminate jobs, but rather to allow employees to more fulfilling jobs, as you can see. And I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think you have to. And my last thought was the expansion in 5 years from now, the commoditizers. You know, the Geicos of the world, and everybody else knows who they all are. They're going to be more than just selling automobile insurance and so forth. I think that, no question about it, they're going to probably be assigning individuals for individual accounts. They're going to have commercial lines division. I don't think they're going to go away. Even because if we can beat them right now or we can live with it, they're not going to go away. And then one more reason we have to do it. Well, that's basically my overview. Has anybody got any thoughts on any of this stuff? Just say who you are and we'll go from there.
No. I think you're right on, George, and every one of these, of course.
Yeah.
We could spend 5 hours on this, but we're trying to compress it into a short time period. But well done.
All right. Well, okay, if you don't disagree with me on that, then let's hear from Al Diamond. That was the G, now the A in GARP. Al Diamond, as you probably know, is one of the most outstanding consultants in the country, has been around for many, many years, and he's just every time I see the pipeline, I want to point it out to people. That is the best, in my opinion, agency management monthly newsletter in the country. And so Agency Consulting Group, he's been speaking everywhere in town and all that sort of things. Okay, Al, you tell us what's going to happen 5 years from now.
Well, thank you, George. I'm very high on the agency industry. I think that there may be less agencies 5 years from now, but there'll still be small agencies, medium-sized agencies, and large ones, rural, suburban, and urban agencies. The change that will take place, in my opinion, and I see it happening over the last 10 years, is that successful agents are going to figure out who their customers really are, and that they're looking for relationship buyers with concerns over protection as well as concerns over price. We're going to differentiate between relationship buyers and the commodity buyers that you pointed out, George. There will be a lot of commodity buyers out there. These are people who aren't educated into insurance and are looking for primarily lowest price. Those aren't going to be the clients. We have to figure out who our customers really are in the insurance industry. Can you go on from there?
Absolutely.
So our grandfathers knew that making friends and earning trust was the key to long customer relationships. And in my opinion, the smart agencies are going backwards to get to the future. We're going to establish relationships that were much like what our grandparents and great-grandparents did in their agencies, except we'll have a lot more power behind our agencies. We already know that it takes a lot longer to make friends than to price products, and business relationships last longer, like marriages, if we put time into the relationship after the sale. We've seen a great deal of problems arise when agents when agents bring new customers in, and they don't pay attention to the customers after the fact. So we want to make sure that our relationships involve insuring every asset that the customer has at risk, not just one or two. We're not there to sell them auto policies or package policies. We're there to make sure that they're properly protected, and that's what relationship selling is going to do. Any robot can write a policy and can price a policy, whether it's direct writers or the internet. Our job is to fulfill needs, and one of which continues to be price. In my opinion, of course, in the next 5 years, price shoppers won't be our target market any longer. We've acclimated so many customers to price, look at TV every day, that they simply don't know what else they need. We need to educate them. So what I see is the end of price quoting as the primary method of selling insurance.
Mm-hmm.
We also need better metrics. You mentioned this before, George. We can't have goals if we can't measure them. We have to do metrics beyond what goes into our checking account and comes out. Everybody measures their revenue, but revenue alone is an empty goal. Revenue fills the coffers, but it certainly won't satisfy you or satisfy the clients. So what we see happening, and we've seen this over the last 5 years, we expect it to accelerate in the next 5, is that productivity and profit are going to become our primary targets. This is how much your staff can handle, and fine-tuning that, and how much you can take home from the agency, either leaving it in as retained earnings or taking it out. The key to this is that we have to be profit-making organizations. So these are the kinds of things that we see coming into the future, and whether the agency is 2 or 3 people in rural America or 50 or 100 people in an urban setting, we feel that these measures are going to be the primary ones that we see everywhere.
All right, let's see if Bruce or Chris has anything to add or subtract to any of that. Either of you? You agree with him?
I do.
I agree with
This
you,
is
Al.
Chris. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
No, you go ahead, Bruce.
I agree with that. I think a lot of it has to do with having the numbers to be able to analyze in order to segment, in order to know the customer, in order to relationship sell and more target customers' needs. The more we know about the customers, the more we can satisfy their needs. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that later on.
Absolutely.
You know, I think one of the hard things about that is that a whole lot of people who go into the insurance business do so because they're producers at heart. They're entrepreneurs at heart. And I think having the metrics out, although I agree with you, they have to be there, is pretty difficult for a lot of producers. It is for me. I'm a marketing guy, and I'm just not a metrics guy. Maybe that's why I'm not rich like you guys, but whatever. I should have been an agent, shouldn't I? And got myself a metrics person or something. Go ahead, Chris, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say I think Al's spot on, and I think what's going to be the big changing in the industry is going to have to be agency management systems. Rather than collecting and holding on to big data, they're going to have to evolve, and without that evolution, I think the agents will struggle and be able to do something with that data. Bruce talks about this all the time. That's great, you store data, but the data that we have stored is doing nothing for us right today. And I think in 5 years from now, management systems will have had changed, hopefully, that will give the upper hand to independent agents so that we can do something with that data rather than just hold all this data inside of a management system.
So people like me wouldn't have to worry about that sort of thing because it'd be done automatically.
Correct. You could do it now. It's just a matter of the investment. So hopefully management systems are listening, and hopefully management systems are going to continue to invest money to be able to do something with our data because I think it's invaluable. It's worth a lot of money, and I think agencies will be able to and would spend money to be able to have that data collected and be able to do something with it.
Agreed.
If not, there are a lot of modular systems that are arising that will challenge the big guys, so that if they don't manipulate their data properly, there will be alternatives out there for the agencies.
Good point. I know a lot of them that are good.
Al, I agree with you on that 100%, and Chris and I have had these discussions lots of times. I don't think it's the agency management system vendors who are going to be the center of data or processing activities for agents. I think, like you said, Al, there are a plethora of best-in-breed single-point products that are out there that can be put together as long as we can get them all to talk to one another. And I think that's one of the big challenges agencies have today. But it's all about being able to have the data and be able to arrange it and be able to draw conclusions from it.
Good.
Most agents don't.
Go ahead, Al.
I said most agents don't realize how important data is to them. You're right, George. Most of us are marketers and salesmen at heart, but truly a business moves forward on its data management.
Well, I totally agree, and here's a guy on data management, my friend Bruce here. We've been working together many years. Interesting incident. Bruce, of course, started Renaissance Alliance. He was Cochrane Porter Insurance Agency. He built Renaissance. It's the largest aggregator, I guess, in the Northeast. He started Captives. He's a big guy in workers' compensation. 25 years or so as on the Workers' Compensation Board of Massachusetts. We could go on and on and on. And as a matter of fact, he was president of the Boston Board of Fire Underwriters. I know when that was. That was 1985. How did I know that, Bruce?
There was something we did. I forget what it was. We had some kind of dinner for some guy from out
Oh, yeah.
California.
Yeah. Insurance Man of the Year, wasn't it? I kind of remember that.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have. Okay. Anyhow, Bruce is a thinker, and he's an amazing guy. He makes speeches all around. What do you think the future is? Oh, incidentally, one last thing. I must tell you that I heard yesterday that Chris, you joined Renaissance. Right?
I did.
Why in the world why would you join that aggregator as good as you are doing?
Well, I don't need carriers, and carriers have never been an issue for me. I've being out in the Northeast, people say sometimes, "Oh, you're aggressive." Yes, I am very aggressive. So it was never a carrier issue. I think we've always been able to handle that and get the carriers we really wanted to do business with. But my feeling is the future in the insurance space is artificial intelligence. I think it could be here now if somebody was to invest the right money. But I think Bruce and Renaissance they're definitely on the right path and developing some incredible technology in order for guys like me to be able to get to $100 million in the time frame that I want to get to.
You probably will too. Bruce, why the heck did you take him in with you as much as verbal as and as what you know what Chris is? Why Chris for you?
Well, I'll tell you. Was it one of Pete Rose said one time that his 3 rules were: 1, be aggressive; 2, be more aggressive; 3, never be satisfied. And I think those are 3 words, three phrases that can describe Chris to a T. And we're looking to do great things together.
All right. Well, that's a beautiful way of putting it. You tell us about what you think is going to be in the next 5 years.
Well, I think most of the future is going to be shaped around technology and data. I think that's kind of a theme that we're developing here. I really believe that analytics and data will be a base qualifier for success in almost every business, specifically insurance. We deal with large numbers. We need to, as Al says, get our agency metrics down so that we can do things more efficiently, more effectively, and that means driving more value to customers. And what this means really is our ability to go from generalists to specialists. Chris is a good example of that. And we only do that with the availability and the ability to utilize the data. But think of it this way. Analytics and data are really going to be the tools that drive value. If you could flag back to the previous slide, George. Okay. Analytics are really going to be the tools. So, for instance, in grade schools, we've gone from mathematical tables, the multiplication tables, and then students we stopped teaching them multiplication tables because now the tools they were using was, a little handheld calculator, math, addition, subtract, divide, multiply, so on and so forth. And now what you see in schools is all of the tables are gone, the calculators are gone, and the kids use the tools, which are the tablets and all in school. We just continue to ramp up our ability to be able to do things much more effectively, and that's really what agencies are going to realize when they make the big leap into analytics and data. And really what we're talking about here is being able to harness the technological disruption that's all around us into a competitive advantage. That's going to be a huge advantage for agencies.
Look at that picture. That picture's wild. Can you imagine? Those guys must be, could they be in the first grade, you think, maybe, if they're lucky?
Yeah, well, that's their starting point. Our starting point, George, were the multiplication tables. We're like the old horse and buggy days.
And I'm still working on learning.
The key is to be able to evolve and use the new tools that are available, and that's what data and analytics are going to be for agents.
All right.
Yeah, and so artificial intelligence, Chris just touched upon a little bit. This is nothing to be feared. Quite frankly, it should be really embraced. It's going to be our friends. First of all, human beings cannot store and analyze. They can only store and analyze so much data. We have mind capacity. Sure, there are geniuses out there who can do it a lot better than others, but the average human being can't store much data. So artificial intelligence gives us the ability to be able to analyze and pour through gigabytes of data in fractions of a second and be able to give us the tools that we need to be able to drive more value to our clients. And this term you're going to hear more and more going down the road, is depicted by the middle slide here, is augmented intelligence. So our own intelligence is being augmented by the intelligence of the machines that are now becoming smarter and smarter. And we're going to be talking about pattern recognition and data mining. That's going to be the normal lexicon going forward. So this morning, this is actually, I picked this up this morning. Fidelity has come out with what you might call a robo-advisor. This is kind of an example of the kind of thing. It's kind of rudimentary, but it's on the right path. And there are really 4 screens here. On the upper left screen, the customer or the casual visitor to the site goes in and says, okay, how much money do I have to invest? Okay, I've got $5,000 to invest. That's going to cost me $1.46 per month. Pretty damn cheap. Okay, but now I slide over to the right. I'm going to invest $100,000. It's going to cost me only $29.17 a month. And then, if I wanted, I can determine how much of a risk I want to take. So the more conservative I am, you'll see here that the greatest amount of the funds are in bonds. But now I select over to the progressively over to the more conservative, and guess what? The stocks, domestic stocks, take up a large percent of the portfolio. And this is the kind of thing that artificial intelligence will do. It allows us to drive that value at a much lower cost.
Wow.
And it becomes a huge differentiator for us.
Wow. Amazing. Marketing. That's another thrilling thing. Marketing.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a shift in marketing. Today, what we do, and Chris does a great job of this in social media and all the stuff that he gets involved in, but really what we're doing is we're driving the masses to our websites, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it takes a long time, and it's very inefficient to be able to wade through all those that, can't do anything for us or don't fit our profile. Whereas going forward, using data, we're going to be able to target insureds that, as Al said a little earlier, will match the profile of our most favorable clients. In other words, those clients who fit our niche, our capabilities to the point where they become the most profitable for us, as opposed to trying to sift through all the hundreds of millions of grains of sand, in the prospect pool to find the one or two or three that fit our particular profile. It's going to make us hugely efficient and hugely targeted.
I kind of see, excuse me, I kind of see that on this thing, that was one of my thoughts earlier on too, that we said, the gradation of our clients, but once you have that gradation done and you know who fits that top level up there, the second one, I think that's going to affect the prospecting totally, which is what you're saying here.
Well, what you're going to see is, for instance, instead of us going out and producers, sell on the bump mentality of sales. They write everything they bump into, try to write everything they bump into. Hugely inefficient. And at the same time, our carriers don't tell us really what they want, and so we're forced to send them everything, and therefore their hit ratios are really low. I believe we're going to be utilizing data to the point where we can, what I call reverse predictive model. So the carriers will be able to tell us specifically what are the predictors for individual risks that are the most profitable to them, and then we can go out into the marketplace and find those risks utilizing big data and analytics that specifically meets that profile, and bingo, gone is the low hit ratios. Now we're into the 70, 80, 90% hit ratio arena. Imagine what that would be like when we get there.
I love it. All right. Yellow Pages, what's that? What is Yellow Pages?
Yeah, well, this is really what we're doing here is it's sort of like going from the old Yellow Pages way of advertising.
Yeah.
And there are very few agencies today that do advertising in Yellow Pages exclusively. There's a place for that, but we're talking about pinpoint targeting of insureds, laser targeting of insureds. That's where the future is going to be.
I totally agree. I don't know anybody who uses Yellow Pages anymore. We've talked about that a lot over the years.
Well, let me tell you a story. We had a risk that came in to us 3 or 4 weeks ago, and one of our people said to the woman, how did you find us? And she said, well, I found you on the Yellow Pages. So we wrote that down feverishly, and then halfway through the conversation, well, actually, I Googled you first, then went to the Yellow Pages.
I never heard that. That's backwards. God.
Yeah.
What next? Okay.
You get the next slide there, George?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Can I just say one quick thing, George?
Yeah, sure.
What Bruce was talking about and being able to drive clients to our website, we may think that that's a good thing that we're doing, but in retrospect, if you think about what our competition's doing, like the Geicos of the world, they're actually purchasing cookies off of agency websites. So the last thing I ever want to do is to drive my existing clients to my website. I want to drive my existing clients through my app, because my agency app, they can't get to my cookies. And that's the key factor that when we're thinking about that now, and I'm reading the articles, yes, we want to drive people to our website. We do. but we want to drive prospects to our websites. At the end of the day, we certainly don't want to drive our existing clients there. We would rather drive them to an app that we may have so that they will communicate with us for one major reason, that we're not actually leaving ourselves vulnerable for the big companies with the big dollars to be able to buy cookies, which is basically the people who are, and my clients that are going to my website, they can actually gather that data and use that against us. So I think that's a major role that's going to continue to change as the insurance space continues to get educated on what's going on in the internet world.
Good points. Bruce?
Yeah, I guess I made the point here, obviously, is that you need the people to know what they're doing in order to have the skill sets. And I think the point is made that insurance agents basically are salespeople, relationship people. They're not data wonks. But I tell all of our agents over and over and over again, this stuff is so important. If you can't do it yourself, hire someone who can. And I think that going forward, you're going to see that the number one skill sets in the insurance industry, sought after skill sets, are going to be data analytics. I think there was in LinkedIn in 2015, the top 10 sought after professions were all having to do with data analysts, data engineers, you name it, software engineers, so on and so forth. This is going to be a big thing. That's going to drive the engine that is going to enable agents to really create a huge differentiation.
Okay.
Can I just add one quick spin to that, Bruce? What I'm finding on the insurance agency end is that insurance agents are hiring other insurance agents to do some of their marketing for them, such as website design, things of that sort. And when you're out speaking, all I would ask is that I think it's so hugely important that we hire professionals, professional website designers, professional search engine optimization people, because we don't talk that love language and we don't understand that. Why would you want to have another insurance agent creating a website when the biggest thing that we want to do is to get away from us being wordy in insurance? We want to get and to be able to speak the love language of the prospects rather than the insurance. And I'm just seeing that an awful lot. People are spending $500,000, $700,000, $800,000 to have other agents develop websites, and I'm not seeing that the productivity or the leads they're going to generate, because the sites aren't being search engine optimized. Yes, you have a good looking site, but if you have a good looking site and nobody ever sees it, it's not anything of any value.
Good point.
The point is we need to be able to devote resources to this, but we need to do it wisely.
Correct.
Okay, let's talk about carriers.
Another huge change we're going to see is a huge disruption at the carrier level. As much disruption there are going to be at the agency level, quite frankly, I believe there's going to be more at the carrier level. The major disruptor is the carrier's legacy systems. Most of your main carriers today, the Main Street carriers, the ones that are name brands, are operating on backroom processing legacy systems that were designed in the 70s and 80s. And quite frankly, that's like Byzantine operation. And today you have technology that can turn on a dime, and those new players coming in with that new technology who don't have the legacy systems or the legacy loss histories are going to be able to eat the lunch of those who can't move around and move quickly. The problem the big carriers have is that if you have a big flow of business, billions of dollars, you need to keep that engine churning. You can't let it stop. Carrier can't say like a manufacturer does, oh, we're shutting down in September, we're retooling, and we'll be back again next January. It's not going to happen. You're going to keep that flow of business coming through, or the carrier winds up going into bankruptcy. And so the challenge for these carriers is how do they make wholesale changes to the basic engines that drive their processing and data capabilities. I liken it, this is what the second picture here is all about, I liken it to trying to change a tire while traveling at 60 miles an hour. Imagine trying to do that.
What do you mean from hundreds to thousands? I'm not quite sure what you're saying there.
Well, some people have talked about there being fewer carriers, consolidation. I disagree. With technology and the use of data and with the availability of capital in unprecedented stages, you're going to see explosion of the number of carriers. You're going to see a carrier for every little niche, every little sliver of niche that there might be. And the next slide will be talking about non-traditional risks that are going to come into being. And they're going to be, the whole landscape is going to be dotted with carriers of all sizes.
This is Al.
Yeah.
This is Al. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I'm seeing moves now from outside the industry to support and sponsor risk-taking carriers for target markets. We're going to see a lot of what we call program business now be their own carriers.
Exactly. Well, you're going to see somewhat of what I have in the slide here, and that is in the non-traditional sphere. I think you're going to see all kinds of risks that I call life contingencies are going to be insured through smaller and smaller entities, local entities. Because of the way that technology works today, you can have insureds banding together, for instance, locally or on single interests to insure a specific thing. We saw this in the UK with people who owned the dogs that they call them service dogs, excuse me, and they couldn't find the proper insurance to cover them for that, and so the society of guard dogs owners or service dog owners, they banded together, they formed their own insurance pool, they set the rules, they even decide on the claims. And so what you're going to see here, it's part of the socialization of the world, is going to be a combination of self-insurance and crowdsourcing to come together to create that. And that, in that sense, we're going to have a bottom-up as opposed to a top-down mechanism where the impetus comes from the insurers and not the carriers.
Good. All right.
That's a lot of excitement.
I brought that other screen, that one with the kids back again because I liked it so much. So it's up there, Bruce. But I love what you're saying. Any last thoughts on this?
Yeah.
And we'll go
I think you have one more slide there, don't you?
I have analytics and database be a base qualifier for success. Is that the right slide? If it isn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. It's your move. Anything else, Bruce?
No, all set.
Okay. All right, good. Let's move to our last GARP person, Chris Paradiso. Chris is amazing for many reasons. If you haven't seen his, I just suggest you go to his website. You want to see something? What is it? ChrisParadisoInsurance.com? I think
it is.
Yeah, and it is amazing. He built this thing, but he has a different view of points. He kind of, a lot of you have met Michael McLean, and Chris and Michael McLean are on the same wavelength. He's the most communicative agent I've ever known. He's in Canada, but that's another story. But he has now a social media marketing program, and Paradiso Presents. How can they see about that, Chris?
ParadisoPresents.com.
Okay.
And the reason we started it is really just to help independent agents, and 100% of the profits go to charity. So this is not a entity that we are looking to make money. Those that hire me to speak or put on a workshop, at the end of the year, the money goes in to help people like my sister who are in group homes that are intellectually disabled.
That's a beautiful thing. Now, if I remember correctly, and it's been a year or two or three, I haven't seen on your website, I haven't been on your website lately to see, didn't you used to list your customers, actually have them down there and refer to?
We do.
Yeah.
We have a partners program. Yeah, absolutely.
How's it work?
It works great. We do several things. We first create a what we call a partners program of Paradiso, and those are the clients that do business with us. And what ends up happening is we put a backlink on our site to their site so that people can get to their site from our site. The other thing we do is we create a video for them so that people can learn about a little bit about the business and see what type of business or product they're selling or product they're making. And then thirdly, we actually send out postcards to clients on our personal line saying, hey, why don't you visit our partners program because you can receive discounts and things of that sort. Now, it's not 100% for our customers because there are people that we add to the partners program that I can't ensure that we have a relationship with. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, we really want to marry our commercial customers to our personal and vice versa.
Got it. I love the system. It's a beautiful thing, and your retention level's off the charts. I can't imagine why. Well, let's go into the 3 points that you've made on this thing. Artificial intelligence.
Sure. Artificial intelligence, I think, is huge. And when people ask me, and just the last 24 hours, I've probably gotten 50 phone calls from insurance agents saying, why in the heck would you ever join the Renaissance Group? And it's a great question because most people think of markets, and you're joining a cluster for markets and being able to get bonus. At the end of the day, for me, it was joining and teaming up with somebody who I feel is smarter than I am and brilliant when it comes to the aspect of big data, data mining, and artificial intelligence, which is Bruce. So I feel I can get to where I need to get to based on his thought process and being able to create things and tools that are going to help us with the artificial intelligence. And that's really why I feel it was important for me to move forward and join a great organization like Renaissance. I wanted to start off by just explaining a little bit about artificial intelligence because I don't think agents really grasp this. What is artificial intelligence? It's already affecting our lives every single day. If you're on Facebook and you ever like the Boston Red Sox, which I know, Bruce, I'm sure you're on Facebook and you like the Boston Red Sox. Well, have you ever noticed on a weekend and you're posting on Facebook on how the Boston Red Sox are now advertising to you, trying to sell you T-shirts, trying to sell you caps, trying to sell you tickets? That's artificial intelligence. And what it's doing is it's data mining. It's taking the data that you're actually putting in the social media world. So artificial intelligence has gotten to where it's gotten to, in my personal opinion, is because of what the Facebook and the social media arena has done to us. And really what has that done is we share so much information and so much data. If we love Eton T-shirts, dress shirts, you notice how Eton is advertising to you. They've taken our date of birth, so now everybody knows our birthday. Just all the information that we're willing to give is then going in and it's being collected. And what is it going to do? Artificial intelligence is going to, in the very near future, be able to say, well, I wrote Bruce Cochrane, and Bruce Cochrane has friends in the Facebook world of so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. It's going to give me the data and be able to give me X dates and give me other information, give me Bruce's friends and who are similar to him and who have similar interests to him. It's going to allow me to be able to get to his family members without ever asking for a referral. So that's why I feel artificial intelligence, it's here now and it's working. It's just that the insurance space is so slow. Al, you really hit me when we say we're all marketers. In the insurance space. Well, we are marketers, but I think what we've done slowly is we haven't adapted to social marketing. We look at social media in a different light rather than looking at social media as just another form of communication. And I just hope that the insurance space continues to grow in the senses of opening its eyes to social, digital marketing, because when you look at artificial intelligence and you look at social media, they kind of go hand in hand. Well, do you agree, Bruce? Do you agree, Al?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all the tools.
I agree. I also agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Guys, the artificial intelligence situation has got to be, I keep coming back to that same thing. It's got to be so much better 5 years from now that maybe I'm wrong, but I said early on that people have to take they wouldn't have to make big decisions about what they're going to do and insure somebody because they're going to have all that in the big data situation. And it just keeps coming back to me, seeing the possibilities of this thing are so exciting. Oh, incidentally, and seeing your SEO thing and social networking, I wanted to mention quickly to you that this our recording will be posted by Monday when it comes out on Facebook and LinkedIn. I have now 7,000 contacts on it. So you guys are going to be in front of 7,000 people, artificially intelligent or whatever. Okay, so that's Monday.
That's great.
Yeah, it's not a lot of people read it considering the 7,000, but if you get a few hundred, you feel good about it. At any rate, let's go to your next point, mobile.
Yeah, let me just quickly before we go to the next slide, just talk about when we think about artificial intelligence and when you say what is it going to do in 5 years, I would challenge you, George, to think even shorter. What is it going to be doing in 6 months?
Ooh.
Because what Google has done is Google is the king of artificial intelligence, and I would challenge that and say, you know, there are others that are extremely well vested, such as Amazon, who I think has probably got more data than any other company in the world. But Google changes their algorithm changes, which is search engine optimization. How are you and your agency going to be found? Every 18 hours. So that's why in 5 years from now, I think we're going to have a much different world. And I think Bruce touched upon that. The artificial intelligence is going to change everything. We are not going to be taking 45 minutes to do a quote, or on a large risk that has 50 trucks that takes a week to quote. It is not going to be that difficult, and what it's going to change is, even with the teledrive and all the data mining that they're taking about people's driving habits, you are going to see that things are going to get a lot easier to quote, and artificial intelligence is going to be continuing to change that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, good. Okay, mobile.
Mobile. Why I feel mobile will continue to grow is because, unfortunately, the insurance space, I'm not sure, has embraced mobile enough. I think when you think of millennials, I hate to keep talking about millennials, but what I think millennials have done is they've changed the habits of Gen X and the other generations. And I am not the guy who's targeting marketing the 24-year-old, the 25-year-old. We at our agency, we want to target families, people with children, people secure. And I'm not saying that all 24-year-olds and 25-year-olds aren't secure, but that's not our target market. But what the millennials have done is they changed the way we want to do business. I don't care if you're a Gen Xer. It's funny on how you want to communicate with people. If I asked you, George, what's the best way for me to get a hold of you? You'll be shocked on how many generations across the board are going to say, text me. Even a 65-year-old, even my father at 81 may say, you know what, text me. It's the easiest way to get a hold of somebody. Well, that is a millennial trait. But why mobile is going to continue to grow is because millennials only do business predominantly through the mobile. Whether it's mobile friendly, whether it's an app, the apps obviously have taken over the world. But when you really look at 80% of internet users own a smartphone. 90% of the time users spend on mobile devices are spent within apps. Why does an agency need an app? Do you realize I think it's less than 1% of independent agents have an app? 1%. That means we're behind the times. When 90% of the time users are spending on mobile devices are spent inside an app. And I will challenge agencies and say, why do you need an app today, not 5 years from today? Is because the app takes real estate on your phone. Do you know the value of that? Have you looked at your smartphone? You need to be now, and you need to have a product now, and it's critical. 5 years from now, unfortunately, an app is going to be way too late, and you're not going to be able to get real estate.
Okay.
So that's why, and the last piece of an app that I think is absolutely critical is the ability to give the client the customer experience they're expecting. They can pay their bill 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether it's by a link or whether they want to make a phone call. They can report a claim instantaneously. They can communicate with me instantaneously because it comes instantly. They don't have to go to Google to look up the phone number. All they do is click one button, and it's there. They can have their insurance card. They can have their data from their policy. I think it's just going to be critical that where mobile and where an app is going to be 5 years from now is allowing a customer to be able to service themselves more than what we're doing today. People are going to want to change a car, and they do now. They want to change a car and remove a car. That is going to be something that they're going to be doing on their own.
Scary. Any thoughts on it, Al or Bruce?
No, I think not only is he right, I don't think it's scary. I think it's a great way to make money.
I think it's exciting.
Why? You mean it's quicker, Al?
Quicker, and how about the expense for the agency owner is going to go down?
Absolutely. And
Yep.
you'll attract more people that you've never been able to attract before.
Mm. Well, gentlemen, I love what you've said here today. We can't keep going forever here, but I do love it. And do you have any last thoughts, any of you, about this situation 5 years from now, the GARP the GARP deal? Anybody else want to add anything? No? I can't imagine.
No, I just think that.
I would just echo something that Chris said, and that is it's going to happen faster than a lot of people can't even fathom right now.
I think he's right. I didn't think of it that way, but he's right, I'm sure.
Yeah. I still think we need to think of 5 years, and once again, why, and I don't know Al quite the level I know Bruce, but what intrigues me so much about Bruce is thinking 10 years, not 5 years. And it's fascinating that if we don't think this way, we don't have that mentality, there's going to be a lot of consolidation. At the end of the day, I don't believe McKinney or all these other studies that say that we're going to be gone or we're going to be dead. We're not going to be dead. It's just going to be consolidated. There's going to be less. And those that are thinking 5, 10 years out are going to be the ones surviving and doing really well.
Beautifully put. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank all of you. It's just great to get so much time. Here we were, there was Al in his office with it. And if you heard some chirping behind, that's Al's bird. He has a bird in his office, and the bird is called Refund. Don't ask me why. Why Refund, Al, on your bird?
My wife does taxes for a living.
Okay, I got you. I know.
She told me that was the only refund I was ever going to see.
Oh, sad. Bruce, thanks again for all you do. You keep on doing it. And Chris, thank you guys. I'll get this out. It'll be out to, it goes out to 100,000 on Monday morning. So with having said that, and me thanking you and thanking you for all the people in the world who you are going to affect with this in our business, I am really pleased to say that I'll see you all again next Monday morning.